All right, welcome to Manly Moving on YouTube. My name is Jay. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Look us up on social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, all the such, to see how we can help you on your next move. We service Rexburg, Idaho, Idaho Falls, Idaho, and St. George, Utah. We also provide long distance moving nationwide. All right, let's get into the video. How many movers do you need for your move? Now, if you've already made the decision to hire professional movers, which we can talk about in a different video, if you need professional movers or not. But let's say that you've already made that decision. So step one, done there. Step two is how many movers do you need? And what are your needs specifically for your move and your house and everything regarding you? Because you are the main focus for everything that the moving company needs to worry about. So, with you being the main focus, there's some things that you need to consider. The movers will always have the priority of, for one, your stuff, making sure that nothing gets damaged or broken. A moving company like us, we will always try to blanket and wrap everything as efficiently and as tight as possible in that truck because that truck is going from A to B and that needs to be taken care of in the most secure fashion. With that, if you are going from a 3-bed, 2-bath house, and typically that's about a 26-foot U-Haul truck, the question becomes how many movers do I need to load this U-Haul truck because loading takes longer, and how long is that going to take? So we're going to play the law of averages. On average, a 3-bed, 2-bath home or apartment is going to require at least one 26-foot U-Haul, at least one, with professional movers. If you're doing it by yourself, odds are you'll need more room or more trips. With professional movers like Manly Moving, we will usually need one U-Haul truck. Now, with that being said, I would not hire just 2 movers for something like that because depending on the pricing of the company in your local area, 2 movers will be, give or take, let's say $150, and they will charge per hour, so $150 per hour, and a full U-Haul truck loading, and if you're going long distance, they'll have to pack it really tightly. That could take 8 to 10 hours in the whole day, and that math can add up pretty quickly. So what I suggest is get to 3 to 4 guys. If you have a 26-foot U-Haul, if you are loading and need to be extra careful and extra considerate of your items, 3 to 4 guys. That's recipe for success. Now, with that being said, I always would suggest if you have larger items like pianos, armoires, extremely large dressers, stuff like that, that's heavy and awkward. Even awkward is honestly more important than heavy half the time because depending on how your house is set up, or it can be a lot more damaging than something that's heavy by itself. Back to the main point. If you have things like armoires or pianos or things like that, I would say minimum, if we're loading the truck, 4 guys minimum, because there's a structure, at least how Manly Moving does it. There's a guy loading the truck, so one main mover. He's typically the crew lead. He's in charge. He's the one loading the truck. He has the blankets, the stretch wrap inside that truck, making sure that everything's nice and tight. Boxes are where they're supposed to be. The fragile items are high and tight. They're not going to get damaged. Everything's protected. He's the one loading that truck. Secondly, you have a crew for the two guys that are lifting the heavy, larger items, the couches, the furniture, the beds, things like that, and they are going to transfer the stuff from inside the house that's large into the truck to get it loaded tight from the crew lead. And lastly, that 4th guy, he's kind of the floater. He's kind of the gopher, and he's going everywhere, getting all the smaller items, the miscellaneous things, the small boxes in the kitchen, stuff like that, to make sure that we get those tight crevices and places filled in that U-Haul. So I would argue that 4 guys for a 3-bed, 2-bath house is ideal. It is definitely worth it to use 3, though. And 3 might be a little bit more affordable, even though it might take more time. It just depends on the math. It depends on how long it takes, how the time constraints, how much that there needs to be blanketed and wrapped, because that usually takes some time too. All these things need to be taken into consideration when you're moving from A to B. So with that being said, 3 to 4 guys loading the truck. We've got the answer there. What about unloading the truck? With unloading, it's interesting because you typically don't need as many guys. So I would say you could definitely get away with two guys. If we are doing the move, if Manly Moving is doing this job for you, how we typically would do it is we'd have, let's say, three guys loading you, getting everything into the truck, everything's done, everything's good, and then we'll just drive. So let's say you're moving from Utah to California, let's say, just something random, Northern California. You're moving from Utah to Northern California. It'll be 3 to 4 guys to load that U-Haul truck. It'll take pretty much half the day, half the afternoon, whatever it takes. And then when we're done, we'll send 2 guys in that truck to drive up to Northern California, and we will get everything taken care of and unloaded with those 2 movers. It might take the same amount of time as it took to load, but you have half the amount of guys, right? And not to mention, especially with you being there to help watch, unload, and direct traffic or where you want that thing and that thing and that item placed in your new house, um, it will go quicker. It always goes quicker because, for one, the movers are typically motivated to stretch their legs and to get moving. But secondly, we know where things will go based off of logic. If you have a box labeled kitchen, that goes in the kitchen. If you have a couch in the U-Haul, that usually goes in the living room or in the basement, whatever room down there. So with that, I would definitely say that unloading the truck, you can definitely get away with 2 guys. That is very reasonable. We do it all the time. It'll be very efficient and get the job done. Okay, so to answer the question, how many movers do you need? Loading, I would say 3 to 4 guys for that amount of house. If you have a smaller place, let's say 1 to 2 bed apartment, you can get away with 2 to 3 guys or 1 to 2. It just depends. I actually wouldn't suggest one. One guy is probably not a good idea. I'll make a short video about that. And then secondly, unloading. You can definitely get away with 2 guys, preferably 3, obviously, because it'll go quicker. But yeah, so that pretty much concludes the video. We're just testing this out. I'm trying to reach out there to help you guys on your next move. I joke about it. You should listen up if you're moving in the next 50 years or so. But if you're moving in general, if that's something in the back of your mind, these are good things to consider, especially if you're hiring a moving company like us. We try our best to make sure that you have a good experience, but more importantly, that we do the job right. And that's something that I really just want to get out there as Manly Moving. We enjoy what we do, we're good at it. We have reached a lot of people, we want to reach more. Again, we are in Eastern Idaho, which is Idaho Falls and Rexburg, Idaho. We are also in St. George, Utah. That's our third and newest location. And we service nationwide. So if you're moving from anywhere close by to those areas, to or from anywhere else in the nation, we can take care of you. This is Jay with Manly Moving. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Give us a follow, like, all that jazz. You know the drill. And we'll talk to you guys later. See you next time.